and get going. I guess they have a new function there. All right, so welcome to the weekly Zoom call. This is Dr. Kevin Connors, and we are going to start off with some questions that were sent in and then open it up for questions for everybody. So continuing the question that somebody asked last time um, that I did the Zoom call was about earthing. They wanted to know about their thoughts about earthing or grounding techniques and whether that's good for inflammation, whether you need to wear have bare feet when you're grounding yourself, or can you use shoes, or can you use grounding mats? We did cover this last week, but we'll review it again. So earthing is the same as grounding. You are basically discharging positive charged particles that you pick up from EMFs, that you pick up from negative situations, that you pick up from, stray electricity. Um, and you're going to the earth that has an abundance of negative electrons, and you're discharging those positively charged particles, protons. So that's a good way to balance your electrical field. It's very healthy. And again, that's why it's good to have a pet. That's why it's good to ride a horse. That's why it's good to uh, get outside and walk the beach. You feel better when you do so. But yes, you do need to have bare feet. So if you're out walking around with rubber sole shoes, it doesn't work. You can also use a grounding mat if you're inside, especially for us in the northern country. You can't get out in the winter barefoot. Using a grounding mat can help ground you, can be very beneficial. This is a grounding sheet that we sell in our store. We also have the grounding chair mats. You can certainly use a grounding sheet as well. It plugs into the ground of your house electrical system, plugs into this sheet here. Um, and I do have a lot more about grounding on our blog. So look at our blog on grounding. We have several blog posts and web pages on grounding. So look at that. Another question came in about dairy products. Which part of them is inflammatory and which part helps our body to grow? Does inflammation only happen if we are lactose intolerant? I've been told not to do dairy due to the fact that it helps things grow. Ghee is lactose and casein free, but are they the elements that are involved with growth, inflammation, or both? Can I use ghee if I have cancer? If I'm told to stay away from dairy products, can I use ghee? Um, we've been asked that question a lot. I don't fully know the answer whether ghee is acceptable or not. What we're looking for in dairy products when we tell a cancer patient to not consume dairy products, it's really because dairy products contain growth factors multiple different ways. Dairy products by themselves, if they were absolutely pure and they contain no contamination from organic cows that you are raising on organic feed and organic, um, let's say this was 200 years ago. Would dairy products be good for cancer patients? The answer still is no, because dairy products are meant to feed a baby cow and make a baby calf grow very large very quick. And then the calf doesn't eat or drink its mother's milk anymore. It eats grass. So dairy products naturally contain a lot of growth factors. IGF-1, other growth factors are in dairy products, and the purpose of them, just like mother's milk, helps a baby grow quickly. So if you have cancer and you're consuming dairy products, typically it's not recommended. Now, when we test people, it doesn't always test as a driver, but usually when it doesn't test as a driver of cancer, it's because that person hasn't been eating dairy products already for a period of time. Sometimes people already know this fact, so they come to us, they've been off dairy for 2 years, and then it doesn't typically test as a driver, or often doesn't test as a driver. It's not that it wouldn't be a driver, but they have been off of it for a long time. So dairy products by themselves contain growth factors. So it doesn't make any difference whether it's ghee or not. So we still say we should probably stay away from ghee. It has nothing to do with casein. It has nothing to do with lactose. Now, there are other reasons. Let's say you do not have cancer. There are other reasons why a person would want to stay away from dairy products. And those other reasons are listed here. You can have an intolerance to lactose, meaning that you don't create the enzyme lactase that breaks down the sugar in dairy products, lactose. That can be because of a genetic defect. You don't produce lactase, therefore, you don't digest lactose very well, and dairy products will upset your stomach because you don't digest them very well. The more common problem for non-cancer patients is the problem with casein, because casein, the protein, so lactose is the sugar in dairy products, casein is the protein in dairy products, is very inflammatory. So when you talk about inflammation, it's the protein in dairy products that's the most inflammatory. Of course, lactose is going to be inflammatory if you can't make lactase, but for most people, that's not an issue. Casein can be inflammatory, and you have casomorphin receptors that fire directly to the brain. So anybody with any brain inflammation because of post-concussive syndrome, because of Lyme disease, because of fungal issues, mold issues, anybody that feels like they're having some memory issues, pre-dementia issues, pre-Parkinson issues, any history of concussions whatsoever, really should not be consuming very many dairy products. It's the casein in dairy products that fires through that casomorphin receptor and creates inflammation in the brain. So does gluten, but that's not a part of this question. So gluteomorphine, casomorphin receptors increase inflammation in the brain. So anybody with brain inflammation issues, some of those that I mentioned should really limit their dairy products, should really limit their gluten. But when we talk about cancer, we're really talking about the growth factors in dairy. And then we could have an entire discussion on the toxins in dairy, because even any commercially grown dairy products are, these cows have been given antibiotics, these cows have been given steroids, these cows are being fed grains, these cows are being fed non-organic things that are full of toxins. Even organic dairy, well, they think, well, organic milk, raw milk, isn't that better? Raw milk contains just as many growth factors. It's not any better for a cancer patient. Organic dairy, is that better? Well, yes, it's going to be better, but still you don't know what is cross-contaminated with these animals. There's anything you buy organic still isn't ever fully organic these days, not least purchased that was grown in America is not. So, but really when we're talking about dairy products and cancer, it has really nothing to do with the inflammatory issues with dairy. It has nothing to do with the lactose intolerance of dairy, it has to do with the growth factors of dairy. And ghee falls into that as well. Now, again, everything is in moderation. Can I have a teeny bit of cream in my coffee? Is that going to cause an issue? Probably not. Can I have a little butter once in a while? I just love the taste of butter. Is that going to cause a problem? Probably not. We're not trying to create in any of our patients a religion around their diet or around their supplements, around anything else. You're trying to do things as best you possibly can 90% of the time. Set some standard like that for you. We don't want you obsessing about your food. We don't want you obsessing about your supplements. We don't even want you obsessing about your cancer, because you're supposed to just, okay, I'll stay away from dairy as best I can, and we're not going to worry about it anymore. So you don't have to be obsessive compulsive about any of those pieces. Next question. Should I be concerned about anything specific if my body drinks the water out of the coffee enema and not much comes back out? That's not uncommon. So if you're doing a coffee enema, you use, let's say you got a quart of coffee um, in you through the enema, and oh my gosh, not much is coming out. Well, usually what that tells you is that you're probably a bit dehydrated. So if you're absorbing the coffee, you're absorbing the water, the fluid in a coffee enema, that usually tells you you probably have some dehydration issues. You need to increase your water intake or increase your minerals. So when I get this question, sometimes if this person who asked the question is not on the line here, but they might say, well, wait a second, I'm drinking 12 glasses of water a day. How can I possibly be dehydrated? Well, you might be dehydrated because you're drinking 12 glasses of water a day. What you need to keep and hold your water is a good mineral balance, your electrolytes in your body. And you can drink too much water and then you will flush that out and you will flush out your electrolytes. You won't be able to hold your water. You can actually dehydrate yourself faster by drinking too much water. Matter of fact, you can kill yourself by drinking too much water. So make sure that you're not drinking more water than and you're flushing out your electrolytes. So sometimes when a person says, boy, I do a coffee enema and nothing came out, this happens quite often, but I'm drinking 12 glasses of water a day. You need to cut back on the water a little bit, go down to maybe 6 or 8, make sure you get on a mineral supplement so that you aren't deficient in electrolytes and causing yourself to be dehydrated. So that would be my first thing. Is there any problem with you absorbing that water in a coffee enema? No, except if you're doing your coffee enemas in the evening and you don't flush your caffeine very well and it keeps you up at night. So that would be the only real issue. Next question comes from a patient who is not on the call here either. She says, I have had continued memory loss. So this patient has a history of cancer. She started with us years ago. Her cancer's been in remission for a very long time now. She's doing great, but she's having issues with memory loss. She's going to another functional practitioner in her area, and he wants her to do these B3 exercise bands. I don't know if you've heard about them, if you follow Joe Mercola. He's been big into the B3 exercise bands for probably about a year and a half now. Um, they are a way to increase your ability to exercise in a smaller amount of time. They are is they're bands that you put around your arms when you're doing um, arm curls and arm exercises and weights with your arms, and around your legs when you're doing leg exercises. And they cut off your oxygen supply. So they decrease your blood flow to the area, not completely. And by decreasing the blood flow, decreasing the oxygen supply to your arm while you're doing arm curls, bicep curls, you are depleting oxygen stores very quickly, stimulating your pituitary gland to release more growth hormone because your body is sensing that your muscles are in a metabolic crisis. So you will stimulate huge increases in growth hormone in doing this, and you will build muscle faster. So whereas the same thing happens if you're going to do weightlifting and you're going to do quite serious weightlifting and you're going to do arm curls with 45-pound weights and you're doing 3 sets of 15 and you are going to build muscle, you'll build muscle quickly. If you're doing these workouts twice a day, you're going to, look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a matter of a couple months. If you're very serious about weight training, anybody can build muscle quickly. But you have to be very serious about it and work really hard with a trainer. You're doing the same thing, but it's taking you a lot longer to get to that point. Is it good for a cancer patient to do that? And the answer is no. So for a cancer patient to do that, what you're doing with heavy excessive weight training, you are doing the exact same thing. Your body is going to release more growth hormone to build up that muscle that you're breaking down through weight training. Now, I'm not against weight training for cancer patients. It is maybe the best exercise for cancer patients, but the kind of weight training that we're talking about that is negative that will stimulate growth hormone is when you're like working out with a trainer and you're really trying to build up your muscle tone and you're working out for an hour and a half doing all these huge sets of heavy weights. The same thing can take place with these B3 bands. So you're putting these bands around your arm, you can do, instead of 45-pound weights, you're only doing 15-pound weights, and you'll get the same result. And you'll get the same result in a shorter time because you're stimulating an excess release of growth hormone. Now, is that good for other things? Is it good for your brain? Is growth hormone good for your brain? Yes. Is it good for the rest of your body? It can be. Is it good for somebody who has active cancer? No. That's the same reason why you wouldn't eat a lot of dairy. It's the same reason why you don't want to do excess fasts where you're going to have an increased amount of um, IGF-1 production, growth hormone production. So I am not a fan of these B3 bands for somebody who has a diagnosis of cancer. Now, this person who asked that question is not on the line. She has been in remission for quite some time. Could she do this for a period of time because of her memory loss? Could this help? Yes. Is she planning on building up her muscle tone where she's going to look real bulky? No. So it all has to do with how much you're doing of that. So this particular person could be fine doing that if she's going to work out reasonably, if that makes sense. So anything in excess, if you're trying to like build muscle tone and really bulk up, you are doing so by increasing growth hormone. And if you do have active cancer, that's not a smart thing to do. Hopefully that answered that question. Okay, we will open it up for questions now. Remember to unmute yourself if you want to speak, or feel free to chat in the question as well.
Sweetie, are you okay?
Hi. Yeah. How are you?
Got a special visitor upstairs.
Oh, is she sleeping?
Anybody with questions? Okay, how do you feel about corn? Corn on the cob. I suspect all corn is GMO. Is GMO pretty bad for you? So yes, most corn is going to be GMO unless it's listed as organic. So you can buy organic corn on the cob in most places. And that's always better. So you want to do your best. Again, it's you're doing your best to stay away from GMO foods. So GMO foods have a lot of inherent problems with them. Are they particularly bad for cancer patients? Probably no more bad for cancer patients than they are for non-cancer patients. But we want to try to stay away from as many GMO foods as possible. How easy is that these days? It's not easy these days. So many things are genetically modified. It's difficult to stay away from all GMO foods. So if you don't, in your area, have the ability to get organic corn on the cob and you want to have a piece of corn on the cob, again, everything in moderation. And yes, some of my patients are extremely strict with their diet. They would never eat anything that's not organic. And then some of my patients We have a patient here this week that she just said that it's very difficult in their area to find any organic food. So that's really sad because that's all our ancestors ate was organic food, right? Now everything is sprayed, pesticides, herbicides, and we know that that is probably the #1 cause of cancer. GMOs are just not good for us. Any GMO corn is GMO because it was Roundup. It's created to be Roundup ready, so you know it's been sprayed with glyphosates. So yeah, none of that is good for us. It's cause of a lot of issues, cancer and autoimmune disease. So you do your best to try to stay away from those things. Would you discuss how supplements can cancel each other out? I think you read something like that in your book. If you can find that in my book, let me know, because I don't know that supplements really cancel each other out. What you may have read about is that supplements can have negative effects on somebody who is doing chemotherapy. So there are some supplements that are oxidative supplements. So let me explain. So chemotherapy is an oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agents are, in effect, poisons. So you're taking an oxidizing agent and hoping to kill cancer cells before you kill the patient. That's the whole purpose of chemotherapy. It's literally a poison, and you're hoping to poison the cancer cells before you kill and poison the healthy cells. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just sounds bad. But that's really what you're doing. So if you're choosing to do chemotherapy, taking an oxidizing agent, you don't want to take a bunch of antioxidants at the same time. So because you're canceling out the effects of the oxidizing agent. So I mean, that's the whole purpose of taking antioxidants. You're exposed to oxidizing agents all the time. Heavy metals are oxidizing agents. Pesticides, herbicides are oxidizing agents. They're poisons, and they oxidize your cells. They can affect your cell membranes. They can cause cancer. Oxidizing agents can kill cells directly. They can also kill cells slowly and cause cells. They can be a cause of cancer because they damage the mitochondria, they damage the nucleus, and the cell starts in a rapid replication phase. So oxidizing agents can be causes of cancer. Well, why in the world would I take chemo? Well, because if you take enough of it, it can kill the cancer cell itself. So you're basically poisoning the cancer cell. So should I take a bunch of antioxidants like alpha lipoic acid or glutathione or vitamin C? Well, doesn't make sense to take those when you're doing chemo, or at least when you want the chemo to do its job. Because I'm choosing to do chemo, I don't want to negate the effects of the chemo. I want it to kill the cancer. So you would not take antioxidants when you're doing chemo. Or what we tell people, don't take antioxidants for 48 hours after chemo. Now, it gets a little trickier if you're doing a chemo pill and it's on a daily basis, and we can discuss that later. But typically, when you're doing an infusion of chemo, let's say on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you wait 48 hours before you go back on your antioxidants. Question is, so then are there supplements that need to be avoided on days when you receive the IV vitamin C? Well, IV vitamin C, it's argued that IV vitamin C kind of acts as an oxidizing agent. And that's how it's actually helping kill the cancer. I would say no, you don't need to you don't need to stay off of antioxidants when you're doing IV vitamin C because I don't think it's the exact mechanism of action. So no, I would not say I would not tell people to avoid antioxidants when they're on IV vitamin C. There is one supplement that I would say that you should stay away from, and that is the Protocell. So when a person is on Protocell, so if you are taking Protocell, that's a supplement that we sell, that we test people on, but we have a number of people on it, and those people we don't have on vitamin C, we don't have them on alpha lipoic acid and acetylcysteine and glutathione for that reason. Next question. My Air Doctor air purifier goes crazy when I use my hair dryer showing unclean air, even with a brand new hair dryer. Can it have toxic material in it? Good question. So hair dryers use a heating element and then a blower. The heating element, I don't know. Some electrical person may know exactly what chemical that the heating element may be coated with. Could be possibly coated with heavy metal, could be possibly coated with something to keep it from burning up. So typically, if you're going to heat up some coil, you don't want it just to burn out after a month and have people returning the hair dryers. Maybe it's coated with some chemical to keep that from happening, and that is gasifying when it's maybe slowly, so the thing will last a couple of years, but it's still gasifying and blowing out into the atmosphere, and maybe that's why your air purifier is kicking off. Well, then are all hair dryers toxic? The honest answer to that is maybe. And that's why I don't dry my hair. No, that's not why I don't dry my hair. But it makes me happy why I'm a guy. No, that's not the only reason. But yeah, there can be toxic things that we use every day like that. Interesting. Next question. When we use the Rife overnight, the kill program kills mold, pathogens, and H. pylori. What should we use the next morning to clean up these toxins to help the liver? So if you're running the Rife overnight, not necessarily your cancer program, or if you're running with your cancer program, a mold program or some pathogen program, H. pylori, is there something you should do the next morning to help clean up those toxins? So many pathogens, like H. pylori, is a gram-negative bacteria. You kill it, you're going to liberate lipopolysaccharides into the bloodstream, and your liver is going to have to deal with that and help detox that. So can you help the liver? Sure, you can help the liver with the hot pack over the liver. That will help. You can help the liver by doing a coffee in the morning, by drinking a lot of water will help flush the liver. You can help the liver by using things like milk thistle, like helping with different bile support, phase 2, phase 2.5, phase 3, any liver support. There's lots of things you can do to help with getting rid of endotoxins. So when you kill pathogens and you liberate waste, those waste products are called endotoxins. Those have to detox through liver pathways. Doing a sauna would be helpful, things like that. So think of anything else that you would do to help your liver detoxify. That's how you could help that happen as well. Any other questions? Is there a daytime bulb that does the same thing as the hammer bulb that will radiate further so I can move around the room? There is. So there is a bulb, and you can look at TrueRife's website. He's got several different bulbs. There's one that stands up that loops kind of like a W loop, and it stands about maybe close to 20 inches tall. We've had patients with Lyme disease, with multiple kids in the family with Lyme disease, and they're homeschooled. And then they use that bulb and they run the Lyme program during the day when everybody's at the kitchen table doing their homework. That's one that you could use. That would be the best one. They have the double bubble too, but the double bubble has a shield behind it and pushes it in one direction, pushes the frequency in one direction. So this one that stands up that looks like a W tube would be the one that would go, I think it's called the 360 bulb. So it would send the frequencies in every direction. So it's best if you're walking around the house. That's the one I would use. Next question, can omega-3s, N-acetylcysteine, and B6 cause the tumor to grow? No, I don't think so. Anything can cause a tumor to grow is the right answer. Would omega-3 feed a tumor? No. N-acetylcysteine is an antioxidant, helps stimulate glutathione production. It's a precursor to glutathione. I just cannot, for the life of me, think of a mechanism in any of these cases that it would cause the tumor to grow. B6 can help nerve function. Maybe if you had a neuroma, B6, maybe. No, but that's the only, no, I don't think so. So no, I don't believe so. Nothing else? Well, thank you everybody for being on today. Again, remember, if you have something pressing, you can always call and ask that question to your liaison. And you can always email your questions in so we get to them as well. Shikaya, another question is, the fruiting body of a mushroom better than the mycelium? That's a good question. I don't know. They probably have similar properties as far as healing properties. I don't know if the polysaccharides are greater in the fruiting body or not. I don't know. I think most powdered mushrooms are going to be the entire mushroom. It's not going to be one part or the other. Don't know the answer to that one. Sorry. If I wasn't prescribed mushroom, is it okay to take mushrooms, either fresh or powder? It's always okay to take mushrooms, yes. Fresh mushrooms, the only thing you have to be careful about by eating mushrooms is if you have like a candida issue or something, or a mold issue, it can be an issue. A powdered mushroom or a mushroom capsule, you're not going to have that same issue. But if you don't have candida or mold issue or anything like that, you can eat fresh mushrooms. Yeah. Where can the recordings of these presentations be obtained? Well, they are slowly being put up on the blog post. So you can look on our blog is the best way to look at them, but it's a lot of work getting them put up there. So just be patient. I'm going to try to start putting them up as a whole thing and then splitting them up into different questions. That will make it a little bit easier for everybody. All right, you guys have a great rest of the week and a good weekend. Hopefully it's getting nice in your neck of the woods and you can get outside and enjoy the weather now that winter is over. Know that I'll be praying for all of you, and I ask that you continue to pray for us in the safety of our clinic, and so that we can keep trying to help people. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.